as a young child, I used to promise myself, coming from a broken home, I was like, I will never let my children feel or go through what I went through. The problem with that was, I put up with a lot of stuff that was mentally defeating. I felt mentally exhausted. I felt suffocated. I was on the brink of having marital affairs. Yes, I said with an S, marital affairs. Yo, it's time for coffee. This is to change your body in just a few. What's up, you guys? What's up? Welcome to Coffee with Joe. I got my coffee mug right here. I'm chilling with you guys. I'm here to grind with you guys. But today, I got a very special topic. This is something that comes up a lot. And the reason why I think it comes up a lot is because a lot of us are dealing with it right now. All right. And it's how do you survive in a toxic relationship? And I really want to talk to you guys about the effects of living and accepting a toxic relationship. Now, just so you guys understand, I am pro-relationship. I am all about doing whatever it is that you can do to save your relationship. I'm also here to help and coach you in knowing when it's time to separate, when it's time to leave a toxic environment, when it's just too much and the other side is just not willing to budge, not willing to work with you, because a relationship, it takes two. Sometimes we do feel like we are the only ones putting in the work. I get it. I remember for 12 years, for the most part, at least 90% of the time, I felt like I was the only one putting in the work. Now, although that may not have been the reality of things, because the crucial mistake that we made in my failed relationship of 12 years was we were trying to figure out everything on our own. All right. Now, I can go back even further and talk about why we should have never got married in the first place. But at the end of the day, you can't change the past. It is what it is. We made the decisions during that time, what we thought was right for us. And then we decided to stick with it 10, 11, 12 years later, for reasons that we felt were the best ones for ourselves and our family that we came to with. So with that said, in that time frame right there, it was a very toxic relationship. And I think the both of us can agree that we just weren't good for each other. Right? We just really weren't. Like what we wanted in life, the things that we enjoyed personally, our visions for like where our family direction was going was so polar opposite. And really like what kept us together, number one, was probably stubbornness. We probably both didn't want to be the bad guy, right? Especially me. I can speak for myself. I didn't want to be the bad guy. I didn't want people to look down on me. I didn't want to be a failure. I remember as a young child, I used to promise myself, coming from a broken home, I was like, I will never let my children feel or go through what I went through. The problem with that was, I put up with a lot of stuff that was mentally defeating. I felt mentally exhausted. I felt suffocated. I was on the brink of having marital affairs. Yes, I said with an S, marital affairs. And I guess people who really come up with a religious upbringing in some religions, you would say, yeah, he did have an affair, even though like it wasn't physical, just the act of having conversations with the other sex, catching feelings for some of the other sex. Yeah, I could definitely agree, like you can label that if you want to as having an affair. And for some people, you can label it as, oh, you almost had an affair. Whatever the case may be, it wasn't right. Now, my partner, same thing, but we were just holding on to something that wasn't real. We were holding on and we were fighting or just maintaining, a relationship that really just never really belonged. All right. So that's why I think this chat is really super important. I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this because really, you need to understand, are you wasting years of your life? Are you enduring years of toxicity that's going to take an effect on your mental fitness, your physical fitness? I mean, most people who like, they don't even recognize their body in a mirror. They're like looking like, who is that person? A lot of that is stress induced. Your cortisol levels are so high. Your body's in such fight or flight. I mean, cells are shutting down. Your energy's down. Your drive is down. You're feeling depressed, anxious, and stressed. And a lot of it can get tied back to the relationship, the partnership you have with another person. And you've tried everything, right? I'm speaking to you because I've been there. You feel like you've tried everything. You feel like your partner's not willing to compromise. It's just a toxic environment, toxic home. But a part of you feels like you should stay. So here's the deal. Here's reasons why you should stay. Let's go through that first, and then we'll talk a little bit about why you shouldn't stay. The reasons why you should stay if you love the person, if you adore the person, if you care about the person, if you feel like it's something that can be fixed, if you personally, because no one can tell you yes or no. That's between the two of you to decide, because at the end of the day, the rest of us are going to our own beds with our own partners. So now it's you and your partner, and you all got to look each other dead in the eye, and you got to make that decision. Are you the person who I want to continue living the rest of my life with? And is this something that I feel is worth fighting for? If the answer is yes, no matter what storm you're going through, if you're going through hell, go through hell together. But don't stop in hell. You guys need to keep going. You need to keep working at it. And you really need to have that real conversation. You can't do what I did. Don't do what I did. I brushed a lot of things under the rug. We would get to it later. Let me blow off some steam. And then when I blew off some steam, then I wasn't as upset. And I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to argue about it. It's the wrong thing to do. All right? So most of us don't make the time to go see a counselor or a life coach or a religious figure or a mentor to help out with these relationships. We're constantly trying to figure things on our own, but we're busy, right? We got careers, children, pets, friends, family. We got so many things pulling us in different directions. You never take care of home. So your home is becoming a toxic waste dump. But you're fixing everybody else's life. You're fixing the job. You're taking care of the career. You're making sure your kids are happy and they're doing their activities. You're making sure mom and dad, you're making sure your friends, everyone around you is good but you. That's a problem. It's eating away at your soul. Your energy's going down. You don't feel good. Now you're upset with your spouse, and any little thing that they do, you might snap. Your partner, the same thing. They're going through the same thing. You may think they're living a good life, but just because they're silent doesn't mean something's not eating away at their heart. Something's not really just like draining their soul, and they just are really coexisting is what's happening. They're just trying to survive in a relationship that they're questioning, is this even for me? So how do you fix this? Well, number one, you need to have that conversation, and you both need to come to a common agreement that something has to change. I'm not happy. You're not happy. Let's discuss what needs to change to make us both happy. Next thing, we need a mediator. We really do. Most of us do. I coach people all the time, not in relationships. All right. Now, I guess in a sense, I do help people with relationships because as a life coach and as a fitness coach, these are things that always come up. And these are questions I drag out of people, because if your diet is on point and your exercise is on point and you're doing everything that the coach tells you to do, but your weight is not budging, my next question is, how's life at home? Oh, you're stressed? You're depressed? You feel alone even though you're living with somebody? Let's talk about that. See, these are things that need to get fixed in order for the body to actually go through the transformation process. If you don't fix the stress at home, there's very little that I can do for you as a body transformation coach. There's very little I can do for you as a life coach trying to bring you an abundance of joy and happiness and fulfillment if you're not happy at home. That's where everything starts right there. And that's where it ends. Everything begins and ends with what's going on in the house. All right. And if you work in a stressful job, nurses, doctors, people who work in prisons, military folks, police officers, you name it, you work in a stressful job, whatever stress that goes on outside your home, you check it at the door. You don't bring that crap in your home. You're feeling a certain way. You need to learn to leave it at the doorstep. You pick it back up when you go back out the door and you figure that out. But don't bring that home. Don't take it out on your partner, your children, or whoever's in your household. You can't. All right. I get it. You're stressed. Your partner's there to make you feel better. And if they're not living up to their partner relationship, this is the discussion you need to have. The mediator, the person that comes in there, that life coach, that counselor, whoever you decide to get in your corner, and for both of you all, not one versus the other, they should be very, very neutral. They are supposed to be the one to help you all communicate to each other. Their job is not to find the solutions. Their job is to ask the right questions and to make sure that the communication that's being delivered is properly being received. You all been together so long, it's just that you've never really learned how to talk to each other. You never really learned, like, okay, if I say these things, does it offend you? Why? Because we love each other. So we ignore the little things that bother us. That's one reason why my current marriage with my wife, Lynn, right now, the reason why it works out so well is because her and I, we were both married to another person for over a decade. We learned what works and what doesn't work. And from the very get-go, from the very beginning, we promised each other that if something is weighing in on our hearts, if something is bothering us, we have to be allowed to speak what's on our mind. We have to be allowed to say what's bothering us so we can make the changes necessary to be happy. Happiness always comes first in our house. It doesn't mean that we walk around skipping around happy all day, every day. We have our fair share of challenges and life problems like everybody else. Okay, when we talk about the heavy hitters, we talk about careers, finances, raising children, physical fitness, mental fitness, emotional fitness. All these things come up in our household just like yours. Sometimes we have misunderstandings. But the thing is, if one person is starting to lose the cool, the other person's job is to maintain their cool and make sure and help that conversation doesn't get out of control. We made that promise to each other. And when I realize that I'm in the wrong, I make sure I say it right away. I admit it right away. I don't try to make excuses. I'm not trying to save face. Why? My wife appreciates when I actually admit that I did something wrong or said something wrong and just own it versus trying to dance around and excuse my behavior. She doesn't care. She's not gonna hold it against me. She'll be like, sorry, Joe. Hey, it's all right, goofball. It's whatever. And we keep it moving. No one's keeping score. In a toxic household, if you're keeping score, then you've lost. If you're keeping score and you're keeping record of how many times someone was wrong, how many times they said something off the wall, whatever, all these things right there. Why? Why are we keeping score? How often did you do dishes? How often do I cook? You forgot to make my plate. Why? Why are you keeping score? You address these things up front when it happens, but don't try to bring up the past. There's nothing more offensive, more damaging to the conversation in the relationship than bringing up the past to state your case. You address what's going on right now. If the other stuff bothered you, you should have said it then. So with that said, how many of you all agree? How many of you all agree that if there's a problem, you address it right then and there, and you shouldn't bring it up right now? Okay, you could disagree. I'm sure you can come up with 1,000 reasons why, yes, I can bring up all the times Jimmy cheated. Why was it more than once? You let them back in after the first time. You let that person back in your life after the first time. You have to own that. If they cheat on you twice, okay, address the most recent thing going on. One should be one and done in most cases. If you allow them a pass, you can't bring that back up. You can't say, oh, but no, you do this too many times. No. You did this right now. I'm not willing to accept this type of behavior. You will not treat me like this. Plain and simple. People will only do what you allow them to do. All right, we will make mistakes. A good partner, good spouse, whoever will own it. But if someone is always verbally abusing you, they continue to do it because you allow it. You're still around. If I was to verbally abuse my wife, I can best believe she's not coming back home tonight. I can best believe, one of us won't be here tonight. Either she's going to put me out or she's going to go home to her parents. And until I get my act together, she's not coming back home. That's just plain and simple. She won't tolerate it. And if I try it again, done. She will be at that courthouse faster than I can say, baby, please. She will, because she won't tolerate it. Lo and behold, if I ever try to do anything physical to her, that's over. I don't think there is a second coming after that. There is no resurrection when you do the physical. So again, people will only allow you to do what you let them to do. All right? They will only do those things to you. So what I'm saying to you is, what are you willing to tolerate? What are you willing to forgive? When is too much enough? I'm not saying don't forget, you know what I mean? And you don't have to pretend like these things don't happen, but you have to address these things head on. That's like a dog peeing in a corner, and you spank the dog a couple of days later for what they did, a couple of days ago. No, do it while it's fresh. Address it while it's fresh. Don't wait a couple of days or don't wait a couple of weeks. Like, say it now. And if you don't have the words and you're emotionally worked up, then you tell your partner, like, look, this is a problem. Right now, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to offend you. I don't want to piss you off. So please just give me a little time to register this, and let's address this tomorrow. Waiting 3 days, 4 days, that's too long. All right, I'm sorry. In my book, that's too long. Don't have me waiting around in suspense, because eventually I'm gonna come up with all kinds of alibis and reasons why. All right, why you should be upset. Let's address this tomorrow then. You need to sleep this over? Okay, cool. All right, well, let's address this in a few hours or tomorrow, but we need to address this. If this is bothering you, I need to know what's up. If I made you that mad to where you need a timeout, okay, great. I'm gonna give you some space. And I learned by my wife to give her space, because when I don't give her space, to give her time to cool down, she gets even more mad. So it's like, you know what? I apologize. Take your time. Let's talk. Maybe in a couple hours. Go take a nap. Go take a walk. Whatever you got to do. I'm going to go do this thing. Call me when you're ready to talk. That's it. I don't let it stew. I don't let the parts fall apart. I got to keep the family tight. We got to keep it strong. I hate going to bed, either me upset or her upset. We got to figure this out before we go to bed. That's my rule. Don't go to bed upset. It just feels weird. How can you sleep well when you're upset with your partner? And who wants to wake up feeling kind of awkward? You know what I mean? No one wants to go through these things. So when you're living in a toxic relationship, you need to address what's bothering you. When you're living in a toxic relationship, you need to understand people will only do what you allow them to do. You have to take care of the joy in your heart. You have to take care of your soul. You got to make sure that, it's always being fed nothing but positive energy. Don't let that negativity live in your household. It's an unwelcome guest. You need to escort it out of your house. Don't let that become the norm. When is it time to leave? When your partner is not willing to work with you. When your partner is just constantly pushing the blame on you, is not willing to accept any of the responsibility of what's going on in a household, and this is being dragged on time over time, and it's just getting worse. You try to get mediation. You got to have some type of confrontation, right? You got to be able to have that conversation, without the conflict, right? You don't have to make it like a battle. You don't have to make it a war, but just having an adult conversation. How important is that? It's so important, you guys. It's so important. What I'm saying to you guys right now is you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them, right? So after 12 years, I finally left. But the problem was, I was waiting for her to make that crucial mistake. I almost wanted her to cheat on me before she eventually did. I was waiting for it, but nothing prepares your heart for it. Because when I was cheated on, it broke my heart. Okay, it broke my heart. Even though I don't feel like I liked her. I didn't like her, but also I was like, man, 12 years. Well, at the time it was 10 years. 10 years together. And this is what we ended up with right here. An affair. Like really, like that's what this all came down to. This is it. This is what our life came up to. So what I'm saying is, don't wait for something to happen. You fix it, you address it. And if you just, of your heart of hearts, you're just not happy. This is just not the right person. Your visions for your life together is just going in split directions. And you've tried and your partner's just not budging and not willing to go to these counseling sessions to you, not willing to get a coach with you, not willing to have these conversations with you. They keep putting it off, blowing it off, or acting like it's not important. Maybe it's time for you to start working on your exit plan. Don't drag it out, that torture and anxiety and depression and stress and anger and regret. Don't drag it out any further than it has to. All right? Because it's just wasted time of your precious life. It's more pain that you're bringing into your household. And if other people live in there, they're feeling that pain. And I get it. You want to keep it together for the kids. I get it. But what I'm saying to you right now, you have to really audit your life and really figure out, are we trying to make this work, or am I the only one trying to make this work? You have to own your own mistakes. You have to own whatever is bothering your partner. You have to own it. If you disagree, that's fine. Vocalize it. But you got to have these conversations. The mediator will be great help. That's a tool. But it always starts with a conversation between the two of you first. All right? It always starts. And if this is something you really want and your partner's like, no, our life is great. It's good. What are you talking about? Why do you feel like it's toxic? I think it's great. Okay, look. This is what I did because I'm the one with the problem. You don't have a problem, but I do. I set an appointment for us for next week at this time with this person, this location. I'm going to be there. If you want to help me save this relationship, show up, please. If it doesn't mean that much to you, I respect that. But I really, really, with all my heart, I want you to be there. The choice is yours. You gave them time. You gave them location. You set it up. You don't rely on them to do it, especially if they don't feel like they're the problem. So you set everything up so y'all can make it happen. Take initiative. You're going to feel better about your ultimate decision, and they're going to at least see that you put some attempt to try. All right? I don't want you to make any kind of, rash decisions before giving your partner an opportunity to work with you. Okay? That's it. And once that toxic energy is out of your life, you can start living that next chapter. You can start living the life you've always wanted to live, because you should really live with an abundance mindset. Always. That whatever you want, you go after. It could be happiness. It could be like, a family. It could be whatever, like your environment. You want your environment to be happy. You want to coexist in a home that someone loves you equally and treats you the way you should be treated. And you want to have that desire to treat them like a king or a queen. You have to have that in your household. Go get it. Go get it. It's easier to do it with a person right now than it is to start all over Trust me, okay? I mean, I got blessed and lucky that I found my current wife. I got so lucky, but I went through a couple of people that they just weren't the right one. And I could have very easily fell back into that trap very easily because I was hurt, I was vulnerable, I was lost, confused, and I didn't know how to date, okay? But I got lucky. I got blessed, whatever you want to call it. But now that I have my wife, I'm never letting her go. She's too important to me. And that's how you should treat your life with the person you currently have. Treat them like you never want to let them go. Treat them like they're the only thing that matters in your life. And you should have that same feeling reciprocated back with you. And if you don't feel like that, you need to fix it. Great chat, guys. Super excited doing these coffee chats. I love it. And you'll be seeing more of me, and you'll be seeing Lynn coming on here with me at least once a week. I told her she owes me at least once a week where we can have these serious conversations and really get to the bottom of our true happiness and bringing relationships back together and keeping things strong. See y'all.